This has been a long time coming. We waited for years to see Luffy finally prove his worth as a fighter, as a combatant, as a character, and split the sky. And he finally did that in a clash with Kaido. And unlike other times we've seen feats like this feat is far more impressive. Just looking at it, it's much more of a bigger spectacle. So I'm going to calculate it. So let's just get into this so we can see how many islands we could sink with this one punch. So to calculate this, let's start off with the most obvious thing. How fast were the clouds moving in this explosion? And that's actually not too difficult to find, as you see, we can easily compare the clouds that are moving to the Eye of Onigashima down below. And doing that, we find that it moved 12.5 kilometers in about 0.31 seconds, putting this burst speed at about 89,000 miles per hour. So this is way faster than you might think for a typical explosion. So this feat is guaranteed to have some insane power. But now we need to find out exactly how far this blast reached, because in this feat, we don't see like the edges of this effect. We just kind of get a general gist of its power. But we need to know exact numbers, or as exactly as we can get. And to do that, we can do something a bit different than I've ever done before. We can take this speed of 89,000 miles per hour and use the time it took for the clouds to come to a stop, roughly 22 point something seconds, to find out how far these clouds moved and thus how far the range of the explosion was before they came to a stop. So it took 22 seconds for these clouds to slow down to a stop after moving an initial 89,000 miles per hour. So plugging them into this calculator, we can find the area of effect of this attack was over 400 kilometers in radius. And before any of you start freaking out about how this is insane, which to be fair, it is insane by definition. This is 400 kilometers. It's massive. This is actually likely on the low end, because you have to remember, we are viewing it from a very high point, a high vantage point, the top of Onigashima, which is already floating in the air. Just taking a look at this panel, and it should be about 18 kilometers upward. So using 18 kilometers as our distance, just the bare minimum, and the distance to the horizon is about 480 kilometers. So this 450 kilometer distance of area of effect is perfectly in line with what you would expect to see from this type of scenario, as we can still see there are a few clouds on the horizon just a long way off. Now that we have the radius of the affected area, we now need the thickness of the clouds in order to solve for volume of clouds moved. And that's actually very difficult to do, but I figured out a way. So we could do pixel measurements, but I think that's actually less effective than what I'm going to do. In the anime, when Kaido and Luffy clash, lightning shoots up into the sky and into the clouds, and we can use that lightning to get an accurate number for cloud thickness. Here's how I'm going to do it. See, by dividing the distance between Onigashima and the cloud layer by the time that took the lightning to move from the top of Onigashima to the clouds, and then multiplying it by the distance that the lightning spent in the clouds, and we can find that what we saw is about 13 kilometers in thickness, which is perfectly in line with normal storm clouds, as they can reach 18 kilometers thick. So taking the cloud thickness of 13 kilometers and the radius of the blast to be about 450, we can find that the total moved volume is about 8.1 million cubic kilometers of cloud, and would have a mass of 8.2 quintillion kilograms. So this much mass, 8.1 quadrillion kilograms, moving at 89,000 miles per hour, would have a force of 1 quadrillion newtons. Displacing this force by the distance, and we find that the energy required to do this would be worth 118 petatons of TNT. This is easily one of the highest tier feats we've seen in One Piece so far. Not the top, not really even close, but is definitely in a very high echelon, especially considering how other feats of cloud splitting aren't anywhere near this level of power. Before this, the most powerful cloud splitting feat we've seen was Whitebeard and Roger, and theirs only came to be about 11 petatons of TNT. So this means that Kaido and Luffy can independently generate likely something in the realm of, 59 petatons of TNT each, assuming their power multiplied and didn't cancel each other out in any way. And with that, after months of waiting, I have finally calculated the power of Luffy and Kaido's clash that split the sky, 118 petatons of TNT. So with that said, guys, thanks for watching. See you next time. Remember to stay spectacular. JoJo out. Bye bye!